Hey kids, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 8, Debugging Strategies, Exercise number 2. Today we're going to continue to explore how to debug our programs. And today we're going to learn probably one of the most useful strategies, and that's using our console here to print out information of what our program is exactly doing. This is one of those fundamental skills that you're going to learn that you're going to use throughout the rest of your coding career. What is this console, you ask? Well, the best way to explain it is it's very similar to the one that you used in CSP. It's a spot that allows us to print out specific information about what the program's doing. Let's not get too deep into it. Let's jump into the lesson and see what they want us to learn. Getting started, we're going to import the painterplus.java from the backpack. And if we don't have it, we're going to copy it from here. And we're going to do that just to make sure we have an up-to-date copy. After that, we're going to write the method signature for the print status method. Inside the print status method, write the code to print the information about the state of the painterplus object. Then we have some helpful hints right here, but I think we can handle it without that. Looking at our code over here, it looks like we are importing our painter class. We have our class header, our method header, our object myPainterPlus is a PainterPlus subclass of the painter. We still have to import that. And this looks like the code from Unit 1, Lesson 10 that allowed us to walk around and always turn south. So this is just saying, wow, my painter plus can move. It's going to move. And then we're going to run the method move or take paint. And that pretty much says, if you're on a bunch of paint, take it. If not, just keep moving forward. Move south says if you can move south, else turn left. And then if my painter plus cannot move south, my painter plus is going to turn left. Remember, the exclamation point is our not operator, reverse Uno card, telling us to do the opposite. Well, that sounds pretty simple. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, let's copy some code. So I'm going to click here. This is going to bring our up-to-date code that we should have. I'm just going to Control C, come back up here, and I'm going to create a new file, and it is going to be called Painter Plus. We're going to create that, and then I'm just going to paste the old information in. Once we do that, I'm going to commit this code here. This is going to go after that file, and then we're just going to say this is going to be our Unit 1 Lesson 11 update. We'll commit and save. And looking at this code, this looks exactly like what we've been working on. It has all of my turn right, take all paint, paint the line, move or take paint, and move south. So these are all the codes that I've been doing through all of the lessons. Let's look at number 2. Write the method signature for the print status method. We've been doing a ton of those. We don't have to know what it's doing to write the method signature. That's just going to be our public void print status. Inside the print status method, write the code to print information about the state of a Painter Plus object. Now, in order to do this lesson, we're going to need to know two things. First is under documentation, and then we click this little arrow here to open up the documentation page. From there, we go to the painter class we've been working at. I would say about 3/4 of the way down, you are going to start seeing ones that say get with it. Get my paint, get color, get X, get Y, get direction. And what this method does is it returns a string of the direction the object is currently facing. That means if I did it to this sprite right here, the output would be the painter is facing north. And we can look here actually how to call it and do everything we need to do for this lesson. So over here on this line, we are just creating an object to get a direction. Down here is a very important line. We have not talked about System.out.println at all in this class. So let's take a minute here and talk about this, because this is actually usually probably one of the first things we talk about in this class. But in here, it's a little of the way through. System.out.print or System.out.println, ln just means on a separate line. Without the ln, it just keeps writing, is just like console.log in CSP. This just allows me to print directly to that console. So what you see here, it's saying print off, and inside quotes, this is a literal string, so it's literally going to print off the printer is facing, and you can see down here we have the printer is facing. Then we concatenate, that's a fun little vocabulary word from the last lesson, and current direction. And current direction is just this string, which is equal to the myPainter object's direction. And this line is just giving us the painter is facing north. That means using these two pieces of information, understanding that I can call these methods, and using the System.out.print, I can get information to the console. Specifically, I can get the direction. I can get whatever the Y location is, whatever the X location is, and whatever color the painter is standing on, as well as how many units of paint that the painter has in their bucket. These are the things that I can print off explicitly to that console. And again, nice thing about the documentation is it gives you examples and what happens in each of these. Looking back at our instructions, inside our print status method, we're going to have something that says System.out.println. And let's use direction, for example, direction, concatenate, get direction. And that should print something off. Let's go ahead and see if we can write this. We're going to have to be in the Painter Plus subclass. Where do we want to be at? Well, remember, this is our closing tag, and we always want to be the one above that. So we want to be inside the subclass, but outside any of the other methods. How do we write our method signature? Again, that's easy. That's just public void and print status. Then we just do our two little curly cues. Do not forget your curly braces. After we get that done, we're going to tab over one more time. We're going to write System.out.println. And the anatomy of this again is parentheses. And what goes inside depends what we're doing. We're going to do a string literal, so we want quotes. And I'm just going to put direction. And it's going to be exactly, so we need a space there too. We're going to concatenate. And remember, from this little chart here, I'm going to pop up, these are the things we can get. So I'm going to get direction, parenthesis, and don't forget your semicolon at the end. So that should get direction. And now we're just going to go through and do the same for all the other ones we can do. So we have System.out.println, and we're going to do this time, let's do X location. Let's do a capital L there. Again, we want to make sure it's literal. Do a plus, and then we're going to get X like that. Again, don't forget your semicolon. Couple more to go. And this time we're going to do Y location. And we're going to concatenate over, and then we're going to do get Y. Last one is going to be System.out.print System.out.println. And this time we're going to say paint left, or just paint, because it gives us how much paint we actually have. And then we're going to concatenate over. And this time we're going to do get my paint like that. Don't forget your parentheses and semicolon again. And I believe that should be the method to get the status down here. That is all we have to do for this lesson. We're actually not going to test it in this one. We're going to do all our testing in the next lesson. Key takeaways from this lesson. There's a couple key takeaways. First is that we can use the console to help us debug and understand the program we're using. As important is how we print to that console. And there's two ways. The first is this System.out.print, which prints everything on one line, like this. And System.out.println, which prints everything on a separate line, like this. The last is understanding what we're importing in the documentation. Understanding the methods that are already written for us can be very helpful when we're using the program. So it's very important that we look through all of the code given to us and understand us to better utilize the program more. I think that's it for this lesson, kids. As always, if you have any questions, come see me. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video. See you later, kids. Bye. Bye.